So how do you force yourself to like studying for the Lsat, Sabrina?
That's tough. I
Do
guess
you, first question, do you like studying for the Lsat?
I enjoy it a lot more now that I've been working with you. Like,
okay. Okay, but it's not just working with me. Like, why do you think that you how has your perspective changed, or what has allowed you to enjoy it more?
I think I've looked at it, like, I like games in the sense I've always like doing like Sudoku and stuff like that. And with LR, I look at it as like, here's my puzzle, here's my conclusion. Okay, looking at the question type, what do I need to find to solve it, essentially? And I like doing it like that, I guess.
So you used to like the game section, but now you like the LR section?
Yeah, absolutely.
Always liked LR?
No, it's grown on me. Like, now it's like, if I have to do a section of each type a day for my studying, I do LR first.
That's awesome. So why do you think, I understand what you're saying about finding the puzzle, and that's why I like LR too, because there's so many intricacies that like I could talk about each question so much and all the things that you can learn. But why do you think that you like LR more, or like why do you think you view it as a puzzle now versus previously, or what has changed in that attitude?
I think I've learned more on how to attack the questions than what I did before. Like, I would literally just look at, like, if it was a weekend question, be like, okay, here's the argument. All right, this, like, I guess kind of hurts it. But now looking at a weekend question, I'm like, okay, does this really hurt it? Look at my conclusion. How does it attack the conclusion? Or like, it doesn't even always have to hurt it, where it's like, before I'd be like, this needs to attack it, where it could just be neutral as long as it's not strengthening it. Or just even like the little tests, like with necessary assumption about negating it when, like, to check my work. I don't know, just like little things like that. I like seeing the STEM.
I don't know when I fell in love with the LSAT, but I'm obsessed with this test, and I'm especially obsessed with LR. And I think it's because there's like, it's the skill that you absolutely can learn, and like the more you learn about it, and when you're able to actually understand it and apply it, it becomes like a game. But it's frustrating until you can understand the rules of the game.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sorry. No, I was gonna say, and it's frustrating because a lot of us know like the 5,000-foot view of the rules, or we try to learn like the ground level rules of the game of LR, and we don't know. You have to be able to know both of them to be able to master LR.
Yeah, I think I was before like doing boot camp, I was such a ground level, like, okay, flaw, like, this is so simple, what's wrong with it? But there's so much more to it, especially like understanding the flaw, because there's been times where I'm like, this is it, and I'm like, that wasn't even the flaw. Like, that wasn't a flaw in general.
And it's not about this memory. Like, everyone's like, oh, I can diagram, or I memorized these 500 flaws, blah, blah, blah. Like, you can't do that at the beginning, where it's like, I think you have to learn like I believe you have to learn the 5,000-foot view first. Like, okay, this is the overarching goal for each question, and then go back again a second time for each question and learn like the ground level, like, and pick up all the details.
Yeah.
Because that's where it gets really fun.
Yeah, for sure. Especially because like, I'm such a memorized person. Like, if this was a test of memorization, I'd be like, this is easy, I don't have to worry about it. And I would have tried to memorize the flaws originally, and now I'm like, that's not efficient. It wouldn't like help me in the long run either. The 5,000 steps is everything.
And now that and once you get down to your approach, then, and you're scoring like 160ish, that's when you can go back and memorize some stuff for speed purposes, and also because you know where to place it. But it's like, just memorizing those. Okay, so if you memorize 5,000 flaws and there's 3 flaw questions, is that the best use of your time? Not at the beginning, but now, like, when you're really missing 2 or 3 questions on an LR section, like, you have to memorize or learn so much just for the potential of 1 point. But that's where a lot of people don't ever even get to that point, where I'm like, no, don't memorize the flaws yet.
Yeah. No, I think.
Do you think you've become a better reader?
Has it made me a better reader? Yeah, absolutely. Like, I'm just thinking, like, how did I get through my degree all the time, not realizing, like, is that like right? Like, are they assuming something? Like, did they fail to consider this?
Thought I was a bad test taker. You know, like, some people are just good at multiple choice tests. I was never that student, and I'm like, I wonder now after the LSAT, if I would go back to school, if I would do better at multiple choice, just by like common sense deductions.
Yeah, I'm the same too.
I think I would freak out because I was a memorizer too, and I either knew it, or I always thought I never knew it, or I didn't, or I would just guess, and I never understood, like, I think I would do process of elimination, but not to the level I do on the LSAT.
Yeah.
I'm like, and giving myself a chance. So how often do you study?
So based off like the days I work, I usually work long days, so I don't study those days, but maybe like 4 days a week I try to do like 4 or 5 hours. Try is big, but yeah.
Right. And how much improvement have you made so far?
Like a lot. Like my first test was a 145, and then
Okay.
I've been, like my best PT was the 160. So I've been getting like my first LR section I think was like 10 out of 25. Getting a boot camp, it was 13 out of 25, and now I'm around like 19-20 range out of 25.
That's amazing.
So yeah.
And she's like, and she's falling in love with the test.
I honestly I say it all the time. I'm like, I can't wait to be done with this stupid test. But then I like look at my life and I'm like, I'm gonna want to do LR questions. I know I will. I'll be like, what's new? Like,
I tell her this, like, would I always choose to go canoeing over studying for the Lsat? Like, yes. But if I'm going to do a job, like, I would rather talk about the Lsat all day than like do something else. So,
yeah, like when people at work ask me about it, I'm like, oh my God, I gotta show you this parallel reasoning question. They look at it and they're like, what is this? And I'm like, oh, but here's how you solve it. You gotta do it like this. And
look at this intricacy, like look at this. And I'm like, oh, they try to trick me with this because they think, oh, I just did a question today and it was a most strongly supported, or it was a most justified question, so a strengthened question. And one answer choice said it may do this, and the other question said it will. And I was like, that one word is the difference between this, but everybody misses it because that one is A, and people pick A and move on and they don't read the rest of them.
Yeah, will's too strong. Or like, it's just, they're like, oh, you're being so critical. I'm like, you have to be to do well in this test. Like, that is the point of it.
What have I grown to be? I'm like everything. I'm like flaws everywhere. Like nobody wants to be my friend anymore because like I have to like hold my tongue when people make arguments. I'm like, nope.
Yeah, I know. I'm going to be so annoying.
So what would be your advice for people if it comes to like, okay, so if they hate studying, can they enjoy studying more?
You have to, I mean, changing your perspective is the biggest part about the exam too. And like what you had said once to me was like, you looked at it as an opportunity to overcome certain things if there was other parts of your application. And I think that's it too. My biggest,
I have a low GPA. So what she's referring to is I have a low GPA, and I always say like, I viewed it as an opportunity to open doors for me.
Like, and I originally viewed it as like the thing that was hindering me or holding me back, and changing that opportunity to, or that perspective to like what opportunities it could give me was big. And
being
then
thankful for it. Yeah,
being thankful for it, especially when it comes to scholarship. Like that's the biggest way to determine what money you'll get.
And to some level, I know people have different situations and financial situations and everything, but to some level, a lot of us can control the LSAT to a degree. Yeah. Of like how much time and effort are we willing to put into it.
Yeah, and I think like looking at the nitty gritty to each question and looking at it, like I said, like as a game really changed my perspective. And I think focusing on one question type helped me a lot too, rather than just
looking at the score and being like, why am I not getting a 165? Why am I not getting a 65? Instead, it's like, we're celebrating necessary assumption questions today.
Yeah, like you got to master each question type rather than just do a random section. Like I know there's
no pair them together.
Yeah, there's nobody that tells you at the beginning of your journey, here's how to study. And that was like the most confusing part. So I think everybody's like, oh, PT, but it's question type.
They just drill, and they don't pair anything together. And it's like, you have to constantly be okay. You have to be okay with missing stuff. And you have to, my other two pieces of advice is one, you have to, like you said, fall in love with the opportunity to take the LSAT or be thankful for it. But also, shoot, I just blanked. It was something about when you're
don't see it as hindering you.
Nope. It had something to do with small steps. Oh, we have to be, whenever we accept that the right answer is correct and we're wrong, like we have to stop fighting right answers. And that was a big thing for me when I was studying, is like, I always think, oh, well, that's dumb. And I still do that today. Like I will say with my students, like if only though, when I think all 5 answer choices are wrong, I think that's fair. But whenever students think, well, this other answer is just as good, or it's the better, or it's like the less good answer of the two, like we have to let that mindset go and just be like, no, the right, like every other answer is wrong.
Yeah, I think my mindset too, like before the wrong answer journal, was I would do a section and I'd see what I got wrong, and I wouldn't want to, like I just wanted to move on, be like, fine, I got like those 8 wrong, I don't want to review them. But learning
I just want to do another one. Yes.
Yeah, like I hated looking at what I got wrong. You know what I mean? I just wanted to go on.
I thought it was boring.
Yeah, like I think it just like bothered me, like, oh, like I got 7 wrong. I was disappointed in myself. I didn't want to like look at it. I just wanted to focus on, okay, I'm not going to get 7 wrong on the next one and just keep going on. But I never reviewed until I did the
and then
wrong
the cycle just continues, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And the thing is like we have to view this as a journey and not an end, just an end goal, because so many people they just have their goal in mind, and until they get that goal, they're failing. And that it has to be slow improvement. The Lsat is like losing weight. Like
you gotta be patient.
You have to be patient, and you're not going to see dramatic changes overnight. And sometimes you have to change small habits and small things to get to the ultimate goal. And a lot of us just don't want to put the time in, or we want quick, easy fixes. And there's like no pill for the Lsat. Like, unfortunately,
there's no way getting around it.
And so it's like, okay, what are those small pieces that I can build so that I can use them on the test? But anyways, I think a lot of people are going to learn from you, Sabrina.
Good. I hope so. I'm thankful.
Yeah, but she's from Canada.
Yeah.
And the last thing is like, what Enneagram are you, and does that impact do you notice a correlation between like your Enneagram type and like how you are when you are studying, or how you are as a student?
So I'm 8. I think I was called the Challenger. I can't remember everything about me. I remember reading it though and being like really spot on about it, and I was like, okay, wow. And then I think Jasmine is the same type as me too. So when I interacted with her, I was like, oh, okay, I see it.
And so like you tend to, so like Enneagram 8s, they are powerful, which it really surprises me, because you don't come across as like powerful and dominating to me, but like you're self-confident, decisive, willful, and confrontational.
I feel like my friends would definitely agree with that, but maybe just because like I don't feel like I've mastered the Lsat yet, and then maybe that's where my power.
Maybe just not in this. So maybe just not in this context, where people be like, oh yeah, Sabrina's really confrontating. Like in class, I would never use the word, oh yeah, she's such a confrontating.
Yeah, I think it's maybe just more so the Lsat, but yeah, that's definitely what my friends would say.
So how have you so what are some things that you struggle with when you're studying, and that you have had to change about your studying habits?
Accountability, I would say, is big. Like, I think that's why the first time I didn't do so well, like I was able to make excuses for it. And I honestly, I thought like, oh, you know what, if I really crushed it down to like 4 weeks before and like grinded for those 4 weeks, I was going to do amazing. And obviously learning the hard way, that's not possible.
300 hours over 6 months is way better than 300 hours over 3 months for a majority of people.
Yeah, absolutely.
It takes time to marinate. You have to let it marinate.
Yeah, and like I thought like when I was in school, I would be able to like be in the library from 9 to 5 and like crush out papers, but this is just so different that it's not that kind of material. And like, especially because I wasn't reviewing at the time, like my wrong answers, I wasn't learning from my mistakes. So yeah.
So I looked this up. So you are independent, minimal supervision, want to get their hands dirty, enjoy class. Oh, I would get this. Enjoy class discussions, especially debate. That's probably why you like boot camp so much.
Yeah, I loved boot camp.
And you prefer the practical to theory. Yeah, that makes complete. I think before, when you were studying, you were doing a lot of theory and just doing the test, and not like just like the breaking down each question type. High engagement and atmosphere of bold action. So this is your productivity tips. Lean into your innate leadership skills and delegate tasks to your team. I don't know what that has to do with studying, but cool. Use a vision board to stay motivated and focus on the end goal. Work alongside others. We just added, this is so funny because we literally just added a study buddy to Sabrina's study habits for today.
That's awesome, yeah.
So this is you.
Perfect. What is...
Might be a little bit of an individualist with a toughness and a rebellious streak. Do you have a rebellious streak in you, Sabrina?
I mean, maybe in the sense of me making excuses so that I didn't have to study. Like,
I'm not doing my LR section today. I'm like honest games. And then do you like to take on challenges and prove your strength to the world? Because I love that. She's also a Slytherin. She's the only Canadian that I know is a Slytherin.
Yeah, I do like to do that. And I don't like being underestimated by people, like that for sure.
I love that. All right. Well, thank you for sharing all of your thoughts. Any last words?
Best of luck and good luck study journey.